yeah, but come on, touching his, like his belly, like, oh.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Cantina Conversations. I am the #1 Kylo Ren fanboy, Travis Snell, and I'm joined by...
I'm the death stick, Taylor Field.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a long time. Matter of fact, it has been 6 years, Taylor.
Ooh.
It has been 6 years. Now, granted, we did kind of do like a mini comeback for the when we did the Rebels retrospective. We did that in part, so that was like a Cantina Conversations, but we've never done one proper since 2019. It was technically, I got it right here. It was... I think it was April. It was oh my god, that's crazy. August 29th, 2019 was our last one. Let's see. Our last episode was Obi-Wan Disney Plus do's and don'ts. So it must have been right after Obi-Wan had been announced and whatnot. But if people don't know, because I was looking up, because I try to go and get, thumbnails and whatnot, or like logos from our old shows, because lots of our old shows now, you and I, we've been through 3 computers, 3 laptops. Lots of stuff's going on. Taylor, do some promotion while we let this plane pass, because I am doing a patio pod right now. So
Yeah, so promotions. Well, the big
GV Day.
GV Day, August 9th. That's around the corner, starting at 10 a.m., going for 10 hours or longer, depending on how we go with the patrons and all that. But yeah, we got a whole whackload of stuff lined up. We got GV trivia. We've got 1994 Golden Geeks, not 2012. That was another event, and just a whole bunch of other things that's going to be popping off. Like, might be getting we are getting our hands dirty. Me and Travis are going to be going toe to toe with Kirkland and Kyle, so that's going to be pretty intense and pretty robust. What else do we got going on? Just lots of stuff. Check our social media channels. You get all the information. And aside from that, we got a Dexter review that'll be dropping, episode 5, the spoilers review. That's every Friday. We're popping off on the Dexter reviews. We got Alien Earth coming around the corner.
Dropped. Did you not see my private chat that I put in there? Oh, damn it.
Be back in 20 minutes.
For the audio listeners, what I did, because I let the plane crash and then or cross, and then I put in the private chat, be back in 20 minutes, and got in my seat. Taylor was in promotion mode, so he didn't see it, but I was hoping to be like, 20 minutes? Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do all alone? So let's see. Charlie Randall says, hey guys, hope all's well. I'd love Rant Rave Repeat to be a return. Just listen to Man Crush's episode and a couple other episodes. Wow. On the Stars episode, Charlie Randall.
No,
yeah.
I'll just leave.
Shot liver? Yeah. Liam, go. No, we did the one a couple weeks ago, which was, it is in the feeds. It's a dynamic duo / Rant Rave Repeat one. We only had enough time to record, like, we just kind of put them together because lots of the episode is about our life, but then lots of it is about comic book stuff. We only had time to do one because Liam was only in town for like 4 or 5 days, and we obviously, I hadn't seen Liam in many years, so we hung out in person. This before I knew Kyle was my attacker. I would never had him over. So you can check out that. Unfortunately, my audio was not the best because it was a patio pod, but it was no fault to Taylor's. Taylor, like, I thought he had more chords than he did. It was one of Kirkland's that we had.
Yeah, Kirkland is what ruined that.
Kirkland's ruined everything. He attacked us, like you said. We got the wrestling match coming up. You were talking about Dexter episode 5. This is coming out a couple days after that. So we're recording live on YouTube right now, but then it'll go unlisted, and then you get it early on Patreon. But yeah, it is there, so you can listen to it. I tested the audio as much as I could. The problem was, Taylor, I had to use this mic, and then I also had to use the other mic, so sometimes you could hear like there's a slight echo because it was like it was on different channels. I called in differently, so it's like you would have been the patio, and then I was the laptop on the patio to the side. So instead of being one stream, it was So unfortunately, that sucked. That it's still a fun episode, and people have been very kind on it. But yeah, you can go back and check that out. Yeah, we've brought back a bunch of shows. I think this and Hunka Hunka are gonna be the last shows. My brother and his friend have recorded episode, but these will be the last episodes releasing for, like Taylor said, August 9th. 7 events going at least 10 hours, maybe more if you want to support us and, pump up more of our content for next year. So we got that going on. Lots of friendly face from the past, montages. It's just going to be a good day. I think it's going to be, I don't want to talk about it in that sense, but I think it's going to be the best day ever for the podcasting. We're just going to have lots of fun. The look back, it's going to be a good time. And lots of other content. Weapons, like you said, Dexter, Alien Earth starting, Peacemaker starting, tons of stuff. And Yeah, nothing Star Wars related, and that's what we're gonna be talking about today. Charlie did say, we'll Patreon, so we'll let you, you chopped liver us before, but he said also last time interrupted was anyone plan to see Naked Gun or Together. Both were great. I'm glad you enjoyed those. Naked Gun, I know you and me are gonna see. We were gonna see it. Kirkland, but I don't know if I want to see him, before the matchup and stuff. But we were going to see that because originally me and Taylor were going to see him do a review on the Thursday, but my wife had a work thing, so I had to can that. And we just thought for numbers wise, it wasn't like a have to. So we'll probably talk about like what we've been watching or something. And Together, I want to see. I've heard great things. I just don't know if I'm going to have the time because Weapons is a must for me. Are you going to be checking out Together in theaters?
I was thinking that we were going to go on the Wednesday because it dropped this Wednesday this
Me
week.
too, early screening. Yeah, it just didn't work out for me either. Yeah.
I watched the trailer. I thought, I don't know if I want to put Madison through that right now because it might be kind of gross and grungy. And I thought, we have a better track record with the racing movies, and that was, I think, the better pick for us. So.
Yeah, but we are talking about Star Wars. As I was saying, for the plans going, and I was trying to find our thumbnails, because for all these, we've had to go get thumbnails, and me and Taylor, who primarily did all the art and the thumbnails back in the day, like the setup. I don't know if you remember what we used to do. It was always the Cantina. I'll bring it up right here. I'll bring up a picture of one of our episodes here, what we used to do. I used to put something joke-wise if I could. I can't really make it big, but what we used to do for Cantina, it was the Cantina, so like just Mos Eisley or whatnot. So I'll bring it up there. It's just a small image. I can't bring it up bigger right now, but it's that, and then it was the red lightsaber at the bottom, blue lightsaber at the top with like the title of the episode, and then the bottom of the description, and then whoever was the Cantina was black and white, but then the main front was always the main topic, like a PNG of the character. But in the back, it always sneaks some funny stuff there. But I had to look, and we actually never had like an actual logo. So maybe the episode I have time when it drops on the actual feeds, I'll try and make that thumbnail. Don't know if I'll have time, but I'll try. So I was looking to see, is there a logo, and there wasn't. But then I found this. If I can go. I'll screen share this when I search Cantina Conversations. The way crazy AI thing is now. Look at this. This on Google AI Overview. Cantina Conversations. Let me bring it up here.
Hang on. Yeah, pull it up.
I'm pulling up. Cantina Conversations is a podcast segment or series of specifically spin-off from GeekVerse podcast that focuses on retrospective reviews of Star Wars Rebels seasons. Oh, that's funny. That's so crazy. It's hosted by Travis and Taylor, and it's known for its in-depth discussion analysis of an animated series. The series has returned for a 4-episode run reviewing each season of Rebels. But that's so funny. Last time I searched this on Google, it had a different... Yeah, here we go. Cantina Conversation is a segment or show associated with GeekVerse podcast. It's a spin-off series that focuses on in-depth conversations, geeky topics, particularly Star Wars. The show has featured retrospectives on Rebels. In August 2023, the GeekVerse podcast announced a return of Cantina Conversations in a 4-episode run. And then here we go. And then something different. Blah, blah, blah. Cantina Conversations is also part of GeekVerse Podcast Network 10-year anniversary celebration in August 2000. This is weird. In August 2023. So they kind of got that wrong. With other spin-off shows also returning for a limited time. So it is so crazy that it gets the year wrong of when we're doing our 10-year, but that's crazy that because we've not spoken about this, like we've spoken about this the past couple months of the 10 years. So it's not been like something we've been promoting all year, but the fact that Google AI has picked it up and it's like, this is part of it. But it was one of the first, but I can't remember. Actually, I'll pull it up when the first episode was. I know we did it for Clone Wars. That was so our first episode was July 4th, 2017. And
Jeez.
I don't... Yeah, and that was, I guess, probably just on the lead up to Last Jedi. That was at a time where I think, gosh, I could be wrong if Kirkland because Kirkland left he had moved away for the podcast from a little bit. It might have been around that time where we talked about it. And then Amber was always busy. And then I think we specifically did this because I feel like in 2017, there was a lot of newscasts of you, me, Jessica, and Dylan. And they didn't hate Star Wars, but they fucking hated talking Star Wars the way we did. Because we'd get to a conversation and we would keep going and going to the point where they had no interest whatsoever. So it's like, okay, let's do a spinoff where we can just let loose. And we talked. You can go back. There's tons of great episodes. I think people really. I think that's where obviously we did a lot of other stuff on the newscast, but I think that's when people really start to enjoy our dynamic together, because we've said this before, where you and I both love Star Wars, just both in a very different degrees of just the things we love about, right? Like your favorite things are the clones and those type of things, where my favorite things is the Force and the Jedis, everything, like favorite movies, etc. When this podcast started, I would say hey the prequels, but extremely dislike them, where now I can I've had some time with them, be like, okay, I can see the good stuff in there that I can watch and still appreciate, right? So that's when we really started. And yeah, go back, lots of those episodes are still like evergreen stuff. Some of them are reviews, some of them are fun theories. That's where I started. I was one of the first. I remember doing that victory lap when for like months I was selling Taylor on, Palpatine has to be in 9. You're like, no, and then we got a trailer. Taylor's like, oh yeah, no, I love it. This is the best thing they could have done. But yeah, we're here talking about Cantina Conversations. Go back in the feeds. We've brought back almost every show. I think almost every spin-off show. But yeah, we've done this. And Taylor, I will say before you go, not go, but before it's your turn.
Got the other intro.
You're talking about the other intro. Yeah, this was the first intro you did for the very beginning. But then I think with the way it evolved and became a much more silly, as usual, type of Taylor Trash show. But this was the first opening Cantina Conversation. You remember that? You remember that Earth thing you made?
Yeah, but come on, touching his, like his belly, like, oh, I was so tempted.
And maybe you got rid of this because of the music, which is fine, license music for this time. But yeah, maybe you got rid of it for license. But look at this stuff, we're popping off. Oh, we kept the cantina, and I guess we should have had the cantina. That's fucking loud though too. Sorry. Well,
I don't remember making that at all.
Yeah, I think you just threw it together because I remember you using that Earth exploding thing for the longest time, and I did not like it, but we had nothing else, so we just kind of went with it. It's the same thing for a while. Like one of our first GV logos, I think our second GV logo was the Star Wars font with GV, and we like the first year that's a different podcast, but still like the first year finding thumbnails, logos, like the logo that's known for GeekVerse, the G and the V together, that took a long time to create. And I just had that. Technically, I'll give credit to Emily. She drew that, and then I made it. I did Adobe 3D, like Photoshop, and put that together. But I think that's why that was that opening. And same thing, we didn't have a GeekVerse theme at that point. We didn't have that, so. Yeah, lots has changed, but we're going to talk about Star Wars and whatnot. I thought there was something else I was going to throw to you with, but yeah, I start with this right now. What we're going to do, before I throw the Taylor, he's going to just, what does he feel about Stars overall right now since we've been doing it since 2019, because a lot has happened. We talked about this a little bit, but in case anyone only listens to Cantina Conversations, they're back for this. What we're going to do today, Taylor completely forgot about this. He's like, "Oh, don't tell me what the topic is. I can't wait."
Months ago.
I think maybe a month and a half. But what we're doing today is we're going to pull up a Wikipedia page and we're going to look at everything Disney has produced via movie or TV shows. We're not going to do books and comics because also we've not read them all, and there's tons of stuff in there. And I feel like that's an easier conversation. I feel like there's probably way more wins than losses. But what we're going to do is we're going to make a win category and a loss category, and we're going to decide for the brand, because it is kind of funny. Force Awakens came out 2015. We're celebrating our 10 years. So obviously Lucasfilm was bought by Disney much earlier on, but still it's kind of in sync with their 10 year and our 10 year as far as producing content. Me and Taylor together, which will be tough because we don't agree on stuff. We're going to decide what is a win for Disney and what's a loss, because I think we talked about this when Kathleen Kennedy, the rumors were coming down, and we got Andor, and it goes ebbs and flows, right? Sometimes there's some tough times and you go, oh man, maybe she should go. Then there's some good times where it's like, you know what, maybe there could be worse people doing this job. So what we're going to do is we're going to see, under her and other people's leadership, is there more wins or losses with the shows and the movies? But since 2019, Taylor, we've gone a lot of stuff. We've gone Andor, we've gone lots of animated stuff. Clone Wars came back, we got Rise of Skywalker. But where are you feeling right now with your Star Wars fandom? Because obviously you're gonna love it. I mean specifically with the air of content we're getting, and not with like how you felt as a kid stuff. Just like right now about the stuff being produced, I'd say the last year going into next year, because as of right now we got Mando and Grogu coming out, we got Ahsoka season 2, Darth Maul animated. There's probably some other stuff we know. We got Visions, and then there's Starfighter. There's stuff that's rumored, but those are like the confirmed things happening right now. So where are you with Star Wars right now? Give us a number to start off with. What's your excitement level for the brand overall?
Oh, I'm always really excited. I really am. When it comes to Star Wars, I'm probably around like the 9s, but I'm not a
Whoa.
full 10 because I just wish that Disney would commit to the shit that they do. Like I feel like now they're starting to turn around with the sequel trilogy and kind of own up to it and just kind of like put their stamp on it. And I feel like something like Acolyte, you put that out there, just so own it. Just fucking own it. You put that show out there, you approved it, you greenlit it, you did all that, everything, the writing.
They canceled
like
it.
But they canceled it, yeah. So like, what the hell? Like, if you feel that confident that you can put it out to like over 8 billion people on this planet, then you need to stand by that. You need to stand by it.
See, now we're already getting started. We don't have the numbers, but what if they put the numbers? Like, what if internally they got those numbers? They're like, Jesus, like this is really low. Like how you can't make that a financial loss. Like if they're like, if we make another season, we're gonna legitimately lose money. Again, that's why both Marvel and Disney, Marvel's doing one live action show a year. I think Disney or Star Wars gonna too. I think they just found out that they like lost like more money than they thought. So how can you, same thing as us, when we do shows and they're not getting the views, like when we did like comic versions, for example, we've talked about before, we love doing that, but we just went, okay, if we do comic versions versus a newscast, which could probably make us a bunch more income and downloads, how do we not do that, right? It's the same thing when you say, oh, they got to stand by it. You want them just to continue to lose money?
I mean, no, but
Stand by, you cowards.
Don't just ditch the whole thing. I mean, they got money to spare. They can afford
They got
it.
books. If you want it, they got Acolyte books coming.
No,
Taylor.
we've already
didn't
talked
ditch it.
about this. The books don't count, right? We've already gone through this discussion.
Well, they don't, but they're standing by. They're like, oh, you want more Acolyte? Here, read a book.
They do the books when they've kind of given up on the project. That's what they do. No shade against the High Republic, but again, the High Republic should have live action content, and they kind of, again, with Acolyte, we got that, but then it's like, oh no, okay, you get more books. Go read about your Rail Avaros and was it Rail Avaros? No, Loden Greatstorm and Bell, Zedifar, and Buryaga. Fuck, I love those characters. Anyways, I think that for me with Star Wars, I just wish that they would put a little bit more attention and respect into those different stories that they created. And the biggest one of all, it just comes down to Acolyte for me, because I really just can't believe that we got Plagueis, and Plagueis just got shafted so hard. That's such a major storyline. Palpatine's master. Oh,
People weren't watching
God.
it. They didn't care about it, That's what happens when you make a bad show.
Oh, it's just tragic.
I think obviously it's tough, right? Because I think it comes by a case basis. I think they are way more. It's interesting because the past, like, since we've been doing this 10 years, I feel like we had like a big run where Marvel, anything they're putting out was great, and then DC, anything they're putting out was very, very iffy, right? Where Star Wars, I think they started that run a little bit good, but then now they're, I think, the most 50-50 stuff, right? Because we did get Acolyte, which I extremely did not like for many reasons. You go back and listen to it. No, and not for the dumb red eye reasons of like, oh, they did this and this is woke. No, just story, writing, character stuff didn't work for me on multitudes, right? Not the Plagueis thing. The Plagueis thing I thought was cool. Obviously, there's some weird canon stuff that ended up having, but we're not seeing Plagueis probably ever again. But anyways, so he'll do a show like that, or even a year or two before Mando 3, which was just I won't say killed that brand, but it definitely took a bunch of people's hype down tremendously. But then you got Andor, which is just, you could make a case, to me that's like a top, well, not trying to spoil anything, but like, probably gonna be my top 10 when we do our top 10 TV shows for our GeekVerse special for the 10-year on Patreon. You could make the case that is the best. I said this on the last episode, so if anyone didn't listen to it, I said Empire Strikes Back has always been my number one, and there's never been anything that has come close. There's other Star Wars stuff that I rate really high, but I've always been like, Empire's always like, that's firmly there. It's not getting shaken, right? Andor season 2 was the first time I was like, this, I still wouldn't, but it's the first time where I was like, I could make an argument for something being greater than that or enjoying that more. And then Skeleton Crew, which, you know, I was not on those reviews because I was on parental leave, but I loved a lot more than you guys. And I said before, I think that's what Star Wars should be going forward, where had some loose connections, but they are fun canon stuff. Like I remember they mentioned some sort of like planet thing, and you came into Kirkland like, oh, this has to do with like the old Republic, this and that. But that's where it's great, where it's like it worked for you, but if it didn't work for anyone else, it was just like a planet's name. Like that's all you need, right? It wasn't just like, oh my god, it's Cat Bane. Oh my god, it's, you know, Ezra Miller. You know, is that who it is? Ezra Miller? No, that's the actor.
That's
Shit,
the actor.
Ezra Bridger. Oh my god, it's Ezra Miller, the Flash. They're here. But I just thought it was a great use of being practical. So that's where stuff like every project, I have stuff that I've given 10s or 9s in the past couple of years. I've had multiple things I've failed. So that's where I feel like my overall, I feel like I have to be like at a 6.5. The reason I think quality wise I could get to a 7, but the problem is, like you mentioned, it's for you, it's the standing by, like the acolyte. For me, it's just standing by what you announce, right? I've had this conversation with Katie and Clay where, you know, I'm pissed that they, you know, not really pissed, but pissed in like the fanboy sense of like, they announced the Rey movie and then it's like, yeah, and we're getting that script written. I know how Hollywood works. I know many times you announce movies and you don't have a script ready, right? Even Marvel right now, they're shooting the fucking Avengers Doomsday. There's no script ready for that. But for me, when they've had so many issues, you hire, like, don't tell us about it till you're ready to go. You don't need to tell, like, they just do these announcements at cons or Disney Celebration or D23 to pop a crowd, and then it's like, okay, good, we got them, and then we'll wait for the next one. That's my issue of, like, I get it. I'm not saying that if you're writing and that's fine if it's rumored, that's a rumor. That's not you putting out. That's someone scooping it. We can't hold them by a scoop, right? The same way with Obi-Wan, we always wanted it, and we always wanted them to confirm that, but up until that point, they never would. So we just, oh, it's a wish. I'm way more like that method of, hey, there's stuff in the wind, maybe it'll happen, versus they've come out and physically said, hey, we're doing this, and then they don't do it. That bugs me way more, because same thing. Let's say Obi-Wan the show happened, but and at one point that was supposed to be a movie. Same thing. Let's say, hey, we want to make an Obi-Wan thing. Let's take pitches, and then they get a bunch of pitches. And if they just all sound bad, then don't make it, and you never have to announce it. And then we don't know. We can always theorize and go, oh, what if, right? But at least it's not a for sure. Where now the Rey thing, it's like we're waiting for that. We're waiting for the Taika thing. That's like a thing. Maybe we'll go over, try and remind me before we end this. Let's go over the stuff that's been announced that's not out there and stuff, because it's just kind of crazy. It's like the DCU now. So that's where I'm a 6.5, because the quality is very 50-50, and the announcements and whatnot, that's the tough thing. I can't get it to a 7 because I feel like as a brand, I can't really trust them on what they're going to do, and especially with, we don't know what's going to happen with Kathy, right? We're going to look at it today and see more wins and losses, but I'm actually now have gone the reverse, where asked me 2 years ago, I thought, oh, you know what, maybe we got to get Kathy out of there. Now it's like, if the people that are replacing her are the people, to me, they're similar to Kathy, but they have less skills. So that's where it's like, that doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, if you're going to get someone that doesn't have the same skills as Kathy, then go a whole different route, right? But don't just get someone that's like Kathy adjacent, but then also does not have 30 years of producing films on her side, right? Like Filoni doesn't have that. So, we'll see what happens there. But yeah, that's where I'm like a 6.5. It sucks. It's definitely like the lowest it's been, because even after the prequels, I feel like that was like, as a kid, I didn't like think about it that way. And there's always Star Wars games coming out, right? Whatnot. But, yeah, let me go. Disney era Star Wars. Is there anything you want to say or anything before we start this little chart here?
I don't think so.
Okay, can you make a written document that you can share on the screen every once in a while? We don't have to share, but yeah, put in the drive or something like that so we can pull back to it. I think, let's see, Star Wars. That was 2025. Okay, I don't want to. I'm trying to find the Skywalker. I'm trying to find everything they've done. Holy shit, they've done a lot of television now. Timeline. Oh, I don't want the timeline. No Wikipedia. Don't give me that. I don't like. They have a whole timeline, canon media, so it shows you the whole timeline with the new canon, and they got like fucking like Star Wars Jedi Adventures. Like, I don't need, and we're not going to count that. Okay, that's not one we're going to talk about. Jedi Adventures. You know, we don't need to go there. But let me just find. No, they keep giving me. I should have. My apologies, everyone. I should have had this up before. They keep giving me stuff that's gonna be released. But okay, Disney era. Let's see. Okay, canon. Television and streaming. Let's see. Okay, I think I got it all here. It might not be in a particular order here, like a date order, because I think I got like animated, live action, whatnot. So we'll just go with this. So okay, do you got that chart up? You don't gotta have it up all the time. You
I got
it
it,
ready?
yeah.
So you got wins and losses, right?
Yeah.
All right. I think this is gonna be an easy one for us. Let's start with how it all kicked off. Force Awakens. Taylor, would you consider that a win for Lucasfilm or a loss?
Oh, that's a win, no matter how you look at it.
I think that's an absolute win. That is still the biggest movie domestically of all time. I think that was. I think the 2 points you could point to of the new fan, like in the Disney era fandom, being the most happy was when Mandalorian premiered, because I think a lot of people were united on that. But I think more so was Force Awakens. Now, granted, I will say probably a lot of that was just nostalgia. You're just happy it was back, right? There was a lot of that because I feel like there's a lot of people that liked Force Awakens that after the fact kind of went, oh, I don't like it as much. But I think it was a massive win. Obviously made a lot of money, got a lot of new Star Wars fans, gave us a lot of new great characters. And that's still one of my favorite Star Wars movies. I love that movie so much. Also, what it leads to is a little bit messy and whatnot. But no, I think that's like an easy layup win. So that was like that's the thing. For the reintroduction of Star Wars, they no notes. They did that 10 out of 10. You can feel everyone about the movie, but as far as like a global phenomenon, they did a great job. So that's more so what we're talking about, not just like the quality of the movie, just like overall the branding and stuff. So, all right, next we got Rogue One. Taylor, was that a win or a loss?
Oh my God, that's a win. This movie, I mean, again, it's are they all billion-dollar films? Yes, we'll talk more about the other ones later. This one is definitely a win. I mean, what's its Rotten Tomatoes score?
What? You're talking about the Acolyte not getting canceled. You're talking about Rotten Tomatoes scores. You're bringing up the Rogue One. What does that even matter here? What does that matter?
84, 87. Oh yeah, people love this movie. People love this movie. All I hear are good things about Rogue One.
No, you don't. You were on a podcast. Our very first review for Rogue One was a bunch of people saying negative stuff. You were
that
the
was
most
years
loved
ago,
one.
but now all I hear when I talk to people are people they really like Rogue One. They like how it props up A New Hope, and it kind of just goes kind of hand in hand with it. And yeah, just a lot of people really, really enjoy that movie. Hopefully you do too after watching Andor.
No, I'm just joking. I'm just bearing the lead. Definitely a win here because for me, obviously, somebody that did not love the movie at the time, I think I have liked it a little bit more over time, but I still have issues with it. And it's tough, though, right? It is similar to like the Clone Wars to prequels, where I think that movie is helped by Andor, but that's kind of a cheat, right? But still, it is helped. But the movie by itself at the time, I had some issues. But as a branding, one, like, and I could definitely say I'm in the majority where tons of people think that is, or I'm in the minority where tons of people has that listed in their top 3 or their top Star Wars movie, etc. I think people did really enjoy that. And again, as far as it being a big win, oh man, so Mike says Rogue One the best Star Wars movie.
Mike, you're with me there. Let's go.
Shut the fuck up.
Love you, fellow Canadian, Mike. Yeah, I can't go that far. I don't see there. I think there's stuff about. I think there's great visuals and there's great moments. I think like that movie lacks so much character development and the writing has so many just like flaws. Even last time I watched it, but there's some great stuff in there. Don't get me wrong. Again, this isn't about the quality. They put out a movie that, like, okay. I guess there's two from right? Because there's no big stars in that, and it's literally just using a line from the first movie of, oh, we got the Death Star plans to make the movie. I will say, and this is where we'll never know, and it's tough, I think Vader being in that movie, do you agree with me? If Vader's not in the marketing, they don't make $1 billion. I'm not saying it bombs, but I think Vader
they still do, because he popped into one tiny little scene in the marketing, and that scene wasn't even in the movie.
He was all over the marketing. Wasn't he on posters and stuff?
Oh, let's see.
I think to me, I thought they were, and even then, just like the Death Star alone too. But I swear there was
he's in the poster, but faintly on the background. But he was not in the trailers, aside from like there was one scene. If you pull up the trailer, Pull up the trailer. Pull up the trailer. You'll see.
No, we're not pulling up the trailer. You can pull up and scrub it if you want to, but like Taylor says, he's barely in the background. He is the second biggest character on this poster behind Jyn Erso and the
Look, the GA's not even gonna see him back there. They're looking at everything
so many people
else.
will go, "That's Darth Vader. I love Darth Vader. Blah, blah, I love Darth Vader." I'm saying that, and granted, again, also that's in a era where movies were making $1 billion all the time, right? Like Captain Marvel. So maybe let me see how much it got over. Let me before I retract or confirm that statement. It made Taylor. I'm standing by. It made $1.059. So not even 1.1. So it's like 100 million under to getting to $1 billion. Like not even. It's like 50 million, 59. Sorry, 60. I think I have no problem in saying, and I feel like for you, if it was bigger, you could stand by this. I have no problem saying that Darth Vader is at least Darth Vader, who they had not seen. I'm not counting Revenge of the Sith because like for a little bit they had not seen since Return of the Jedi. I think he is $69 million worth of ticket sales. I absolutely do. I think he's more than that.
So he was not in the teaser trailer at all that they first released.
But he's in the trailer. He's on the poster.
That's like a 2-minute trailer. He's not in that trailer at all. And then he pops up in 1 second of a scene in the story trailer.
Yeah, he's there, and then he's on the poster. He was all over the TV spots, and there's other posters.
No,
they made too.
What TV spots? I have not seen any TV spots where he was all over.
They showed him, especially after the movie. They showed the hallway scene a little bit. Don't try to Mandela effect this.
All right. So this is the only. This is the only thing in the trailer is you see.
Oh look,
this.
it's Darth Vader. Yeah.
This. Everything else is literally like 2 minutes of just everything else.
So do you, in your opinion, let's go back in time. Let's say Comic-Con last year happens. They don't announce Downey as Doom. Do you think when they released the Doomsday trailer, if they showed a 1-second shot of Iron Man, that would not move tickets? You know it would. You're bullshitting yourself right now. And that's what I'm saying. Vader, $1.059 billion. I'm saying it's not like I'm not even saying the movie would have bombed. I don't think
it's. Would you say that Vader's helmet in Force Awakens is what added like $1 billion to that movie?
I'd say it all though, because that's tough. Because you got Leia, you got Han, I think the Vader helmet did add to that. You got Chewbacca. That's too many. Like each of those characters are worth like you'd have to look at the chart, but that's like worth like 100 million there, 300 million there. Like I'd say Han Solo's like worth like 500 million. Like all those, and they didn't have Luke, but everyone thought Luke was gonna be there, so that's like worth some more millions. So that one's trickier because that has so many returning characters, right? Where in Rogue One, it was just the Death Star and Vader. Palpatine's not in there. Grand Moff Tarkin's not selling tickets. He like no, even if they showed him, he's not selling tickets. So I'm not saying it. I'm saying it could literally make $999 million. I'm just saying I don't think it hits $1 billion without Vader in there.
I think Force Awakens just totally recaptivated the franchise there.
Absolutely.
Just such a delay. Yeah. And I think off of all that hype, that's another thing that sent people into Rogue One. I don't think Vader had that much of an impact on the ticket sales. Wow. I think it was just the magic of Force Awakens, Star Wars being back, getting something that is just such a like a.
I feel like also because he was coming back, sure, Ewan as Obi-Wan, but the fact that Obi-Wan was Star Wars' biggest show, and Vader is also in the marketing for that is another just cap in my feathers. Like Vader at one point, that shows Vader still moves tickets. He still moves merch. I still think if you make a Vader show or movie, that does.
But how well did Obi-Wan do numbers wise? And
we never get the full numbers. We just know that it's second behind Loki. I think it's like Loki and then Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's the best Star Wars show they've ever done, like viewer wise. But we don't get that.
Do you think that's because of Vader?
I think he helps. I think Obi-Wan and Vader together is a great combo. But either way, I'll say it's a win because they put a spinoff, not too many big characters, big actors, made $1 billion. They are run high. Now here's where things get interesting. Here's where the real fun begins. Last Jedi. Is that a win for you or a loss for you?
It's got to be for me.
Well, yeah, but like what we're saying overall for the brand, like if they're looking at their wins and losses the past decade,
for the brand,
do you consider that a win or a loss? Yeah.
For the brand, it's a loss. And I say that because of how divisive it was to the like the fandom and the community. And that being said, I know people that love Last Jedi. They just praise it. I know other people that absolutely just hate what they did with it and how
So
it
many
just
people have
ruined
that listed
everything.
as their like favorite movie of the franchise,
Oh yes,
like the Rogue
absolutely.
Ones.
They do, yeah. And to each his own. I do enjoy the movie. I think there's a lot of really good stuff with it. I hate that. While I really like Rise of Skywalker, the two really just conflict each other. Where Force Awakens can stand on its own, but then the next two just really just like are just like fighting in the alley, just going to town on each other.
That's so true. Yeah, the drunken
It just
uncles.
it damages both of their stories and both of what they're trying to do. I like Last Jedi, but I don't like that they just shafted Rey. I like Force Awakens, but I like that they were trying to give Rey more of like a bigger backstory. I don't like that she was a Palpatine, but
Yeah.
here we are. So
don't
that
know
being
if it-
said, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I wonder because I remember there was, I think, because I can't remember where you. I think you were. I think we were almost all on that. Were you fine with Ray being a nobody? Like if they would have kept that route?
Yeah, I would have been okay with it, even
And
though
me
I
too.
I prefer she was somebody, but
Just not
not a
that somebody.
Palpatine. Yeah,
But that's where, yeah, and that's the thing where I feel like the Palpatine thing, like, didn't work for either crowd. Like, I was somebody when they made that Last Jedi reveal of like, oh, you're nobody. I'm like, oh, that's great. We talk about how many times so many people are all relate all the time. Fucking Happy Gilmore 2 recently,
Oh,
like,
man.
like that. Somewhere it's like, oh, I'm complete. Like, I would have been fine either way. But it feels like the Palpatine reveal was like. The people that want her to be nobody aren't happy, and the people that want her to be somebody aren't happy. Like, I don't know. I wonder if there's anybody, people, and this is not like in a negative way. I mean, like, if you listen to GeekVerse and how long, safe space, comment on this, Facebook, in the Discord, let us know. Like, if you still like that reveal, let us know. This is not me saying, oh, you're dumb. I just mean, like, I haven't met anybody that's been, you know what? I really liked the Palpatine reveal. I think even at the time, people might be like, oh, okay, good. That explains how powerful she is. But I just feel like no one's, that's not something they stand by. It's like, oh man, that was the bee's knees back then. So Superman Mike is right here. I was gonna ask if this would be a fun podcast to do, Mike, if you have any ideas. He says Last Jedi, the film that shattered the online film discourse. Absolutely true. That was one of those where it felt like nothing, and Star Wars was never the same. It felt like it was divided. We just talked about this. Oh no, I guess this was off air, but here you go. This I don't care. Me, Liam, and Kyle, when before we did Dynamic Duo, we were talking about lots of stuff, life and politics, and we even talked about in the world, right? Where even like American politics, it felt like whatever side you're on, when Trump won, there was a huge shift in lines drawn, right? Here in Canada, we talked about many places like when COVID happened, huge line drawn of you're not vaccine, not wearing a mask, or mask wearing vaccine. Right? It feels like for a while it was just this battle. Mike's right. That's Last Year, I think, is the one. I do give a lot of credit as well to BVS. So that Mike, that's what I was going to ask, and anybody else in the Discord too. You can hit us back later on. What do you think is the Mount Rushmore of? Because I feel like it's 2010 and on. What's the Mount Rushmore of like the shattered the online film discourse? Because I do think Last Jedi is. It might be the top dog, but I could also put BVS because I remember when BVS came out, that was. That's when I was in the thick of things of online Discord. That was heavy. I could also put Man of Steel up there because I feel like that was a movie that really divided people. I remember walking out of the theater with my Best Buy crew and all seeing it, and all of us not like it, except for one of my best friend's cousin was like, "Oh, I loved it," and like he was just like alone on his totem pole. And then later on, there's other people that like I met through online stuff that liked it, or like Jessica or an Amber, but for a while I met no one that liked Man of Steel. But that's where I was trying to think, like, what else? Taylor, I was trying to say, because I agree with Mike about Last Jedi, and I said maybe this was a good episode to do one more, but like I said, like Last Jedi, BVS, I said maybe Man of Steel. What do you think? Is there any other films that jump to mind that just like win the Discord, like the discourse just like started and never changed, like it's just from that point on, even though it's not a movie, I could also say when James Gunn was hired as DC president, I feel like from then there's always been like a fighting and whatnot. But does anything, oh, this is a pretty good one. Superman Mike says Last Jedi, Ghostbusters 2016, Captain Marvel, BVS. I would boot Captain Marvel still for Man of Steel, because I think my problem with Captain Marvel is that's tough, because Captain Marvel and Ghostbusters both suffer from like red eye syndrome, where I feel like Man of Steel, where BVS and Last Jedi had discourse that wasn't just like, it's woke, it's this. It felt more like it was about, you are hurting the characters. like their core. Like that's not my Luke Skywalker. That's not my Batman. That's where I still put Ghostbusters. I can take that because I can see people be like, that's not my Ghostbusters. Captain Marvel, no one was saying that's not my my Carol Danvers. People were like, who the fuck's Captain Marvel? Like, so that's where I still would put Man of Steel because that was a lot of that's not my Superman. But does any other film jump into mind that the discourse just got so heavy when it came out? But those are good ones, Mike.
Jeez.
I think Last Jedi and BVS are the top, though. Those two, I think, are the tippy top. Those two together.
Yeah, I would say that's right. Gosh. Okay, Ghostbusters is a good one. Really can't think of anything.
Yeah, maybe we'll cycle back to it. Maybe we've talked about some other shows we might do. Maybe that's a good one to cycle back and look through the eons of time. But before we continue on, Superman says The Last Jedi. Last Jedi is the only loss if you take into account of that caused disaster of Rise of Skywalker. So here's the thing. So Taylor says Lost. So here's my argument here. Movie made over $1 billion, bunch of money. You could argue that might be the most beautiful Star Wars film. Some of the shots in there, my God, like the ending battle on Crate, geez Louise. I think Mark Hamill is great. Again, that's another big decision. And I think you could make the argument that Adam Driver gives the best single performance in Star Wars. Maybe there's overall, you can put different movies and whatnot. But in one single project, I don't know if anyone's as good as Adam Driver in Last Jedi, period. He is incredible in that movie, and it makes some bold choices too. Like, I think that's why people love it. Like, I remember that ending with the throne room and him killing Snoke. Like, there's some choices where, like, man, you guys got the cojones right here, right?
Mm-hmm.
My problem is, and this will spoil my thoughts to the next one, and we'll just lump them together. I think it has to be a loss as well, but I also think The Rise of Skywalker has to be a loss because my opinion is not even to do with the box office, the online discourse, which you can put in there as a loss. Well, my thing is the reason those are losses is because they didn't really plan those out at all. They just did the whole, well, we're going to let JJ do it and Ryan's going to come and do it, and then we're going to let JJ. That's why to me it's kind of like they both take the ship down. Even though I'm not saying you can't like the movie, and I'm not saying both $1 billion movies super successful for them. People like to paint elsewise. Like, obviously there's some backlash, but still, it's not like Last Jedi came out and then Rise of Skywalker came out and like plummeted big time. It's still the lowest, but still made $1 billion, which is hard to do nowadays. So to me, that's where I am. It's just because they did not. Force Awakens, I thought, was a great setup and a great push to get Star Wars back. They should have had. I know George didn't exactly have all that all mapped out, but he had enough of the beats in my mind for that and the prequels. That's where it's like the sequel trilogy are better made movies from a film standpoint, but the prequel story, take out the writing, like this dialogue and script and everything, the story is better because it's like it's a 1A to 1B. Like there's a line of where they're going, right? There's some stuff that doesn't make sense, but there's a line where the line to Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker, it's all over the map. So would you agree that you'd put them both in the loss category?
Yeah, I'd put them both in the loss.
Yeah.
I would.
They got their money, but was it worth it? Who knows? Next here, I don't know where we're gonna come down on this one. Solo, a Star Wars story. I feel like, and I'll make my pitch because I know how much you like it, and make Solo 2 happen, all that stuff. I feel like it does have to be a loss because one,
this
the
is
money.
Last Jedi.
What?
Though. This is Last Jedi that downright affected it, I would say.
Yeah, but then Rise of Skywalker made $1 billion.
Because it's a main story film, right?
Maybe, or people just did not, including myself, want to see Han Solo without Harrison Ford, right? That's another thing where it's just like they didn't want that. They didn't want a prequel. I don't buy that. And it also came out same time as Deadpool and Infinity War. Remember that same month? So I'm going to say with Solo, there's a bunch of reasons. I don't think it's just one. I think Last Jedi did a little bit of that. I think, okay, I'll take this back. It's not that Harrison Ford's done the role. They didn't find a guy that had the Harrison Ford energy. I think we can all admit to that.
Alden Ehrenreich, he sure did have it.
Well, I don't know if you say like that, but he is nothing like Harrison Ford. He cannot play cool.
He's not like Harrison Ford, but he played Solo, I'd say.
No, he's not Han Solo. He's not. That's not Han Solo. That's my favorite Star Wars character. # not my Han Solo. But take that out. Why I think it's a loss for two reasons. One, that was, I think, the real start of their problems of, remember, that movie had 2 different directors, and midway through, they canned them and reshot the whole movie. So I feel like this was the start of the whole, this isn't working, let's throw everything. Like, I feel like if this movie didn't keep going, we would have been in the situation where they would announce Solo and it would have just been killed. Like the way that's happened with the Rey thing, with the Taika thing, with the Rian Johnson trilogy, I feel like it would have had the same fate where, whatever, let's just not do it. So I think it really started to show some seams in the system. And my thing is why it's a lost hair. For whatever reason it came out, it did not perform well, and it scared them from making spin-off movies. We talked about this before. I really wish, I prefer I watch someone made that Obi-Wan movie cut. That's way better than the show, other than some editing snafus, I'd say, but that scared them from making spin-offs. So that's why I would say it a loss. Nothing to do with the quality. I would say they put that out, and what they should have done, okay, that didn't work. What's next? What's else? But they didn't. They got scared. They tucked their tails and they ran. They made the Skywalker thing, and then they're like, we're just going to do TV shows. And obviously, COVID and strikes happen. I get that. But we knew for a while there was no movies really being planned. And now we see, right, how many movies got made and they didn't. So that's my pitch to you why it's in the loss. It's nothing to do with quality, just the fact of, one, some big production issues were starting with Lucasfilm as far as you agreed to these guys direct this film and then midway you don't like it. Like, how come you guys didn't talk this out? And two, it scared them from other spin-off movies for a while. We'll see. And I'm still not counting Mandalorian and Grogu because that's a spin-off for a spin-off, right? Like, that's a proven TV show. So that's my pitch to of why it's in loss. What say you?
Oh, I say that I don't think it is the movie's fault that they decided to put it up in a very, very short time frame after the last Star Wars movie, and the last Star Wars movie being too
Mike
soon.
said that.
I agree with that.
And that's
Mike.
absolutely. That's another factor. Plus, it only came out 4 months after the last Star Wars movie. Too soon. They trained us to associate Star Wars with Christmas event, which is funny though because Mando and Starfighter are not Christmas; they're in May.
No, but Avatar, right? Avatar is their new.
Yeah, that's what happened. Avatar made all that money. They ditched Star Wars. Like, yeah, you don't get that Christmas slot anymore. So,
I just think that they set it up to be doing poor with the fact that, hey, we're going to release it 4 months after a very highly controversial Star Wars film has divided the fan base, and yeah, it's unfortunate. I can see where it would like from what it earned at the box office and the damage that has been done to it based on the other Last Jedi. I feel like it will be in the loss as much as I try to fight for it, but it's a dang good movie. I really, really do enjoy it, and it's a fun anthology story, and it's nice to get something that is very much on the big screen and was not so heavily tied into like the main saga. Like Rogue One is heavily attached to that because you're getting these characters and the rebellion and everything and the empire and these high-ranking imperials, everything really tied into that story in the main saga films. But this, it's just really, even though you get Solo, you're still really, really just at that baseline of just this is a smuggler story, just up and coming kind of guy, a low guy trying to make his way up in the universe by doing heists and jobs. And I think that's too bad that we can get some more build up off of that, because it's that was the start of them dipping their toes more into other Star Wars stories, and Star Wars is so huge that we could just tap into so many stories. You don't need to do a reboot. You don't need to do anything like that. There's so many planets and places you can go to. We can do so much.
Talk to you in 10 years. They might need to do a reboot, but in honor of Han Solo.
Shut the fuck up!
I'm not going to talk about that movie. I do better ignoring it. Miscast with Han Solo, writing's very meh. So Han Solo, they get the blast, like all the bad prequel stuff you hate. The fucking sequel set out with Darth Maul was lame. A bunch of stuff. So many problems in that. Han Solo as a character too does not work. Yeah, that movie is definitely like low tier Disney Star Wars stuff. So, but not the reason I have it as a loss. So. Let's go to this might be some easier ones. Let's go to the television side, but on the animated side. So, what do we think about Rebels?
Oh, that's an absolute win for sure. I've not heard anyone talk badly about that show. And while it's one of those examples too where it starts off really, really kiddie, it gets more grown up and adult, and they don't hold back when some of these characters start getting killed off. Yeah, it's just, what is the term for? Oh man,
lackluster?
No, not that. What are Jedi called that became Jedi after Order 66?
Bitches.
Bitches, yeah.
Not canon, in my opinion. Not canon. They should be not canon. There should be no fucking Jedi's left when Luke's bopping around. But I digress.
Talk for a second while I find
Anyways,
this term.
I'm just kidding. I'm with Taylor. I think this is a win. I think also they couldn't do Clone Wars right away, but I think was a win. It was a fun introduction. And yeah, I don't like a lot of the beats that they do in there as far as the overall stories, but the characters within them are good. I'm somebody that I prefer. It's sacrilegious to say I prefer Rebels to Clone Wars. I like the narrative. I like some of that time period. And again, there's some issues I have with the original Clone Wars show that I just think is just some like almost more kiddie writing. There's stuff where it does help with Anakin, but at other times it hurts it, where it's just like, how come no Jedi's talking to him about this thing he did? Like, this is so out there. It's like it just makes it seem like they're even worse, So, but yeah, I would put Rebels in the win. That led to Ahsoka, which we'll find out later if that's a win or a loss. But yeah, I'd put that in there. And that was just the start of it. So that's, here's a new animated show. There you go. Did you find your term?
I can't find the term, but stories that focus on Jedi becoming Jedi after the Purge, I really, really like that kind of stuff. And with Ezra Bridger, he wasn't my favorite character at the start, but I really like him and where he kind of develops and becomes more of a wholesome Jedi at the end of it. I really like the show. I think that they bring in some really cool things. The Inquisitors, and with Maul trying to take in Bridger, and then you get Rex and the clones and all these other really, really emotional arcs and sequences. It's really, really cool.
Okay, I'm going to say these two together. Very different, but I think we're going to be on opposing sides, but I think we should try to come to the same side. So I'm going to say Resistance.
Wait. Were we putting Rebels on win?
Yeah, win. That's a win.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it did a good establish like a new characters, dipping your toes in Disney anime just to start. There's some good crossover. I still think they made a mistake never making Darth Maul and Darth Vader fight, but I digress. But
that might happen in the new show. People are talking.
God. All right, Resistance and Bad Batch.
Bad Batch is a win.
Bad Batch is a loss.
You didn't even watch season 2.
That's why. Not a good thing. No, to me, I'm saying Resistance as well because I think you would put Resistance. There's no reason not to make Resistance a win because it really affects nothing. It's just like a little kid show that's on a channel that gets some viewers. But if you think it's a loss, I can agree with there. For me, with Bad Batch, and we'll have to see with Darth Maul, the reason I would put them in the loss is because it's just Filoni's still just stuck in that one era. Rebels, Clone Wars, Bad Batch, and Maul, they're just all too similar. And that's where we've talked about before where, yeah, it's great to dive in that stuff. And I know you love diving in those new, like the other commandos and whatnot. But at the same time, it's like, how you're talking about Solo or Acolyte finally getting these new things. Wouldn't it have been great if just one of these fucking Filoni like TV shows would have been like an anime show, and even his live action stuff is Ahsoka that he directs. Like, wouldn't have been great if it would have been, let's dive into something else. Again, I know the word is he doesn't like the Old Republic, but like High Republic, something else, like anything else, like even Tales, which we'll get into. That's a bit similar. So for me, I think both Resistance and Bad Batch are losses for not the quality. It just felt like they said, "Hey, Dave, you got to make some for Disney Plus. Just do Bad Batch." And Resistance, I think, was just like kind of very nothing. Like I think they could have done more with that show. So that's why it's a loss. So for me, that's why those two are a loss. But see if you can try and sell me, not quality show, why Bad Batch should be a win. Because like I don't think it. Like we talked about this before too. When Bad Batch was coming out, that show had after the first season zero talk about it. It felt like that show wasn't even releasing. No one was talking about Bad Batch other than I know you, Clay Katie, and other like hardcore Star Wars geeks. But like that show was DOA after that first season.
So I think, yeah, the first season was a bit rocky, and again, you have these characters that are very much flamboyant personalities, as we got to see.
Crusher was his name. What the fuck was it?
Rekka,
Oh,
Hunter,
God.
Tech, Echo, Crosshair.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Wrecker, again, for a show and for them having very flamboyant personalities in the Clone Wars, and then it just amplifying that in that first season of Bad Batch. When you get to the second season and then the third season, the show really brings them down quite a bit.
12 people that got to the third season,
But it brings those characters' personalities down back to Earth in a very good way, and then you get some really that really dark stuff that you got in those later seasons of the Clone Wars, that's just all Bad Batch. They pull so much of the humor out and replace it with just very serious and emotional moments and just the crazy shit that happens and the deaths and everything that goes on. And they take things that were really big highlights from the Clone Wars, and then they spread that and create a really it's not just arcs anymore. You have by the time you get to the third season, you have a point A to B consistent narrative where you have things that were pulled from the Clone Wars that were enjoyable, and then it's thrown into Palpatine's plan. And now it's okay. You got the Bad Batch that are just trying to do this objective with Omega, but Omega is a very high part of Palpatine's plan.
But
and the
what
thing
did it do for the brand? It didn't bring
for
on
the brand,
any new people. It gave us a bunch of story.
It did. It brought in new people.
I mean viewers. Viewers. It did not bring anybody that's lapsed, bring anyone new. It was just two inside baseball and stuff like Palpatine's plans, all this stuff. Why the fuck does it matter? At this point, Palpatine had already been brought back and killed again.
Yes, but the thing is, he was brought back and killed, but you don't have any proper context. That's one of the losses for Rise of Skywalker. You don't understand really anything. It's like, oh, dark magic, secrets only the Sith knew. But what I appreciate what Bad Batch did was Bad Batch created the foundation, along with working with Mandalorian's story a little bit too, of like, okay, here with Project Necromancer, here's everything that's kind of going on in the background of everything with Palpatine and his plan. And that's what I like, is that we're not just going to a book, but you don't have Disney saying, okay, read this book or this comic to kind of learn what was up with Palpatine. No, we're going to put this story in a visual representation that you can actually sit down and watch, and you can see Palpatine building up towards his Project Necromancer in leading over to Rise of Skywalker, which that's a big win for me. That's what I'm really, really thankful for. On top of the fact that the show is just so fantastic.
Show is not fantastic.
Oh, it's good. I think if you got to season 3, you'd be complete 180.
Yeah, but then you got to get through season 1, and that's tough. And these characters.
Well, you already did it. You already finished season 1.
No, I'm not doing that. I can't, in good conscience, say. You didn't tell me anything. It gave you some canon notes. Cool. That in a day they could make a fucking book, a live action show, and be like, that didn't happen. So that's why when your cell's like, oh, it gives us more of the canon. It's like, doesn't matter. Someone could make a movie and be like, oh, that doesn't matter.
It's not just the canon, but it seeks to repair the damage that Rise of Skywalker and Last
did
Jedi
it?
had enacted.
And did it?
I think it did. I think
No,
it
it
did.
didn't.
But
No,
people
it
aren't
didn't,
running to
'cause
see a cartoon. It was like, oh, a kids show,
yeah,
right?
and but that's what I mean. Maybe this should have been live action then.
But if it was live action, then I feel like you get the issue of Solo a Star Wars story.
Well, and then we put the lost category. So if it's that's the thing where it's like, to me, I don't think it did anything to repair. It's not like I've got tons of people that have said, hey, the Clone Wars really helped me with the prequels. Until you've said this, I've not heard a single soul say, oh, the Bad Batch really made Rise of Skywalker way more accessible.
Because everyone just hates we need to wait 10 years for the sequel trilogy.
No,
to
Clone
age
Wars,
well.
but no, the Clone Wars right away, people were on to it and like enjoying that. The Bad Batch, they were not. Maybe if we redo this list in 10 years as an uprising, sure. But you can admit that it's not. That show is barely viewed by anybody.
We're going to do this list in 10 years from now again. And we're going to
Sure,
see
we'll
people
talk
will be
about
talking about, oh, the Bad Batch has made Rise of Skywalker so much better for me.
Or you'd be like, hey, did Bad Batch make Rise of Skywalker better? And they'd be like, what's the Bad Batch? That's what's going to be happening. Put it in the lost category with Resistance.
Fine, I'll pop it in there for now.
Like I said, we're talking about the brand.
It's in there. It's only temporary.
No, it's permanent. Trust me, it's permanent. I'm going to count this one. The Clone Wars Revival in 2020.
Oh, that's a win. Order 66, everything that was in there.
We've been there before.
What it do for the brand? Oh my god. That was just I think all I heard was everyone just raving about it, just blowing their minds, everything. Like people were just going crazy for that with Ahsoka turning on like Rack. Oh.
Yeah, but it still has to be in lost category. It has to be lost category. Hang on, for this reason. Let me hear me out. So, no, I'm joking. No, I think it's win because the thing is
pulling my chains.
I think the reason it's a win is for the one particular reason was in 2020. This has nothing to do with the time. Like, it does have anything to do with the timing. They didn't know COVID was coming, but in a year when there was very little content overall, to put this out there and people enjoyed it to a nth degree. That's where I heard chatter for something being cinematic for animated stuff. So I think the good thing is with that is I feel like people were starting to check out of the animated stuff a little bit, and that gave it a shot in the arm. Now, I don't think, again, I just said this with Bad Batch. I even think this would Tails a little bit, even though I don't know if that's a win or loss. I think they didn't capitalize on it. So I think it's similar to Force Awakens for me, where it was, because Rebels ends in 2018. Resistance, I'm not going to count. No one's really watching that. And then, yeah, there's nothing else in the Clone Wars. To me, that was a shot in the arm. Like, okay, some great animation. Here we go. And again, like I said, they didn't do much with it, but that's where, to me, it's like Force Awakens, where it was a shot in the arm for the brand. Came at a good time with COVID, but unfortunately didn't follow up. But yeah, I would still give it in the win category, Taylor. So you're safe.
Good.
Okay. Like I said, we're not going to count Young Jedi Adventures. That's just a show for kids. Like, that's fine. It's in its fourth season. It's clear it's doing well enough. This is a tough one for me because I really don't know. Just the Tales series.
I think it started off pretty strong, but I feel like they're squandering a little bit.
Yes, that's the problem. It feels like it's just one of those things of like a checkbox. Like, we just need some content. You know?
Yeah, like Tales of the Jedi, getting the Yaddle stuff, getting Dooku turning, getting young Ahsoka even. Like, that was some cool stuff. I preferred, like, the Yaddle and the Dooku arc. That was definitely pretty awesome with, like, him losing Qui-Gon and stuff. Really, really cool stuff. And him, even with Qui-Gon, doing missions and Qui-Gon questioning him.
Well, and again, that's what we talked about. And I like the Ahsoka character a lot. That's what we talked about. That stuff was great. But because Mike says there should be a third category of draw, things that has zero effect. I do agree
That'd
with you.
be Bad Batch.
I do agree with you in context, but then we won't debate, Mike. So we're not doing that. That's because then we'd have too many draws, Mike. But I agree with you in a sense. Bad Batch could be that. I think Tales could be that. But I think the reason it's tough because like that was the great thing of Tales was exploring some new stories, but then at the same time it's like, oh, here's Ahsoka again, and then they're very like short episodes too. You know, like that's my pitch of like. For Bad Batch, even though I know you're like I would have taken the swap of like Bad Batch get the mini episodes, and then imagine like how Bad Batch was like what 8 episodes, 6 episodes. How long was the first couple seasons or the first season or two?
I think the first season was like 15 or 16 episodes.
Could you imagine if we got 15 to 16 episodes of Qui-Gon and Count Dooku together?
That'd be pretty good.
So that's why I think Tales for me is a loss because it's like showing potential. It's someone. It's you're having sex and you tell the person I'm about to get to the finish point and they stop and they're like, well, maybe there'll be more Tales next time and they walk away. I think there would be a draw, but for me, I'd put this in the loss category because it's lots of potential, but it's untapped potential.
Yeah, like it is untapped potential because the first season. Excuse me, it was really, really strong and really, really awesome. But then Tales of the Empire didn't even feel like Empire for half of it because it was just Dathomirians versus General Grievous, which I love that arc. Grievous was fucking terrifying. Like, run, ha, 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 just fucking. Did you ever watch it?
No, I haven't. There's the
Grievous
other one out
is
too,
like
right?
Grievous is a top 10 in that. And I will say again, but it's not doing anything for the franchise. But Tales of the Underworld, the whole Cad Bane arc was fucking fantastic.
Yeah, I gotta
it
watch
caught
these.
me off guard. And then everything with Ventures too, the Ventures arc, that was really, really exciting as well. But the Cad Bane one
cannon
is
breaking
like,
arc, that one. Another
Well,
reason putting a loss, more cannon
not
breaking.
they don't break it. They do a very thorough job at the start saying, here we're correcting like any breaking you think happened. So they fixed that. But the Cad Bane thing is just a fantastic arc. I really like it. But again, it's not doing anything for the overall franchise. So yeah, what do you do, right? I mean, I think that they
Put the
should
L on
focus
it.
on. They should do more Tales, like get us a Tales of the Sith. That's what everyone thought we were going to be getting at some point here, and then you get
too
like
dark for
you
Filoni.
get Bane in there, and then you get like
He's
Revan
not
and all
touching-
that.
No.
Oh.
Filoni's like the head of animation. He ain't touching Old Republic stuff. We're fucked.
That's why you're never going to see Tales of the Sith.
Yeah. All right. I'm saying that's a loss.
Yeah, it's a loss.
Yeah, it's tough, Mike. It's a good point. The problem is 99% of Star Wars fans don't watch. I won't say 99%. I think that's a little high. But 99% of fans don't watch the animated stuff, so it's kind of impossible for any of them to affect the brand as a whole. Yeah, I don't like completely obviously agree with the percentage. I think it's more just like does it have any impact, right? And there's the other, Taylor just stepped away for a second, but I'm going to argue Visions is a win because that had an impact. To me, it's when you have people that are, even if it's just Star Wars fans talking about it, where I was on those first reviews for Bad Batch. We have a Star Wars channel in Discord. No one talked about Bad Batch, right? Same thing like in GUA. It's like, oh yeah, I watched it. That's it. Where something like a Visions, I'm not saying everybody because like still a small amount of people, but that had so much love and so much, oh man, you gotta check this out, or just Rainbow, like we need more of this. That's where for me, like that's where it's considered a win or a loss. When it's just kind of has no effect, that to me I could be a loss. Obviously, a bad effect is a loss as well. So I guess it's harder, right? More ways to lose than win, but even then, like Visions, I'm sure it's not like pulling huge mumbo jumbo numbers, but they've on to third season, and that is one of the most creative. That might be, other than now, I would say Andor season 2, but like other than that, to me, that is might be, and Kylo Ren, Adam Driver. That's the best thing that's come out of Star Wars Disney era is Visions. Like, and I at first, because I'm not even a big anime guy, I thought, all right, like this is something, like this is like cool, we'll get to see some different styles, let's see. But the stories, like they've done it in a way where there's so many stories that they created in that world that I'd be more interested in than what is happening in the actual canon stuff, right? But yeah, the animation is very hard. Obviously that's why we're kicking Young Jedi Adventures out there. So obviously it's just our predictions and whatnot and everything. So or not our predictions, just our I don't know, assessment of what's happened the past little while. But yeah, we will see. Taylor Phil's not back. He said he needed 3 more minutes. Let me look at this other list and see what's going on here. The Disney era. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about comic books. High Republic, I thought, was a win. I'm still some books behind. I didn't get there, but yeah, we got some stuff coming up here. How many shows we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 shows to talk about. I guess 8 when Visions. But yeah, for me, Visions, clear win. Let's see. Another problem comes in when you expect people to watch the animated stuff to understand the live action stuff, like Ahsoka. That one for me is Ahsoka's that's a tough one because I know tons of people really don't like it, but I think that did have at times some impact as far as like the community. It was like some debate with Thrawn and Anakin, but yeah, that's a tough one for me. I know Taylor's gonna say that's an absolute win for him when he comes back. Watch, listen, listeners and watch viewers. When he comes back, oh, Ahsoka, oh, absolutely a big time win. But I don't know. Like it's that would almost be in like the draw category as well. But again, that's why we're not doing the draws because we would not debate then, and maybe he'll try to sell me on why Ahsoka might be a win there. I have one angle of why it might be a win, but we'll see. But yeah, well, while I wait for him, I'm going to pull up some of these conversations we've done before. Not the audio, but I'm just going to pull up some of these topics. No, he's back. Here we go. I see him sitting down here. There we go. I try to kill as much time as possible. Taylor, Visions, win or loss?
Visions it's got to be a win because all I hear are people praising this franchise.
That's what I was saying. I was saying to Mike to Visions, because we talked about the anime stuff. We were going back and forth a little bit there. With Visions, for me, it's like I don't think it's got massive ratings, but it's in its 3rd season, and for me, that's where I was saying like Bad Batch or other shows, like live action shows too, where we got a Star Wars Discord, other people that I know, they don't talk about those things, but with Visions, every time that thing comes out, people are talking about that, praising it, loving it. I said that's some of my favorite Star Wars since Disney got it, and I would have never thought that. So yeah, to me, that's a big time win.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
we're getting the 3rd season of
Yes.
this, or 3rd volume, and we weren't even supposed to be getting more, right? It was just like a one-off.
Yeah, and we're getting a sequel in the stories. I still got to read the book of that Samurai Ronin one. Yeah, I got to read that book. So, all right. So we got our last 7 things. We got the 7 live action series. Okay, I think these are 2 easy ones. The Mandalorian.
Oh, that's a win. It came out again right when like Disney Plus launched, COVID, everything. Like,
Yeah, easy win for me. Obviously, we'll see. Now, Mandalorian and Grogu, if we ever redo this list, that'll be a different conversation because I'm so curious to see, hey, people that already watched Mandalorian, are they going to pay for that? Or are they just wanting any Star Wars? Does that just show the Star Wars brand is not dead but just hurt overall? No matter what they put out. But the show itself was a win, even though season 3 was a trail off. That was a big juice moment for Disney Plus. And Grogu, right? Grogu was a merch mover, and people love Grogu. I think they did a lot of stuff. So for me, Mandalorian is it's a big thing there. You have three. You have to separate the seasons. I'm not gonna separate the seasons because then that if I did, that's like even if we wanted to, that's like I'd still say they're kind of all like I don't like season 3 is a loss. Remember Mike says that I agree with you quality wise, but I don't this is why I can't debate it until we get the movie because season 3 I think was not the greatest, but I know a lot of people that still enjoyed it, and I still don't know if the GA was completely I hate this show now. I think that was a downtick. To me, I would put it as a loss if Mandalorian Grogu movie does really poorly too, because then you'd say, okay, maybe that show did hurt. But for me, I'm fine with just saying the whole show is a win for now. That's what I'm saying.
I'd say the whole show's a win for sure.
Okay, maybe Taylor will fight me on this. I would hope not. But the Book of Boba Fett. I'm going to say, just for the reputation of Boba Fett alone, it is a loss. Boba Fett, one of the most interesting, scary, popular characters in Star Wars history. A character that for years, obviously George Owens did the show, for years, when they bring him back, to now, no one gives a fuck about Boba Fett. They actually have disdain for him. Even God Loves Me 69 for the Geek Versus on GV Day, we said, hey, put in fighters for us, right? We're going to randomize and we'll put fighters. He said Boba Fett before Disney. There is a differentiator there, and that's what sucks. And to me, I think the show, that's their worst thing they've ever put out, writing-wise, acting-wise, decision-wise. The whole weird thing of Mandalorian taking over half the season. I think there's many problems, but just alone for Boba Fett's character, I think they took an IP that at one point could have been $1 billion movie. That could have been a massive movie for them. And it was it wasn't by me. They had the idea because remember they were making that movie. Remember the director Fan Forster was going to direct it. That stuff happened and they canceled. But they were making a Boba Fett movie. So to me, they knew what they had. But now you put a Boba Fett movie out there, that's persona non grata, zero hype for that. So it has to be lost. They killed one of the most iconic characters of all time in the badass route. You need to get a charger.
I'm in the minority because I like this show. I like everything with the Tusken Raiders and how, he came out of that pit of Carcoon, that Sarlacc pit, and just on the brink of death, and the Tusken Raiders took him in, and then through all this time with the Tusken Raiders,
the Tusken Raiders be nice people.
It changed.
The guys that assaulted and killed Anakin's mom. You know those people. Let's show that they're decent.
They're defending their property.
Let's show they're decent people.
I think that that kind of mutual understanding, it helped him grow and develop as a character, and then he changed his ideals a little bit. And there's so much in the show that I really, really do like. I think it's a fun, good time. The things that I don't like are them adding in the super colorful speeder bikes, the speeder bike gang. That was just absolutely tragic and horrible to that show. Them adding the Mandalorian, that was a nice treat, but we got a Luke Skywalker episode in there, which was really just out of the blue.
That could have been its own show, the Mandalorian.
It could have been its own show.
Grogu and Luke.
Its own show. Yeah. So that is unfortunate that we got that in there. And the biggest thing that is just a loss for me with this is them backtracking and just bringing Grogu back to the Mandalorian in Boba Fett's show. I don't think that was the smart choice whatsoever. He should have stayed with Luke, should have trained, and then have Kylo Ren face off with him, and then Grogu just kick his ass. So
Kylo Ren would have killed him. Remember?
No, he wouldn't have.
I don't see no Grogu in the sequels. I see Kylo Ren though.
He's with Mando. That's how they saved him.
Mando didn't make it. Mando's gonna be dead at that point.
Well, it gets tricky because you see the Razor Crest in Episode 9, which is
that'd be someone else's ship though.
I think you see the Razor's Crest in Episode.
No, but I mean that could be someone stole it from him, right? Is the Razor Crest destroyed?
It got destroyed, but then you see it again in Mandalorian and Grogu. You see a Razor Crest in the trailer, I believe. So, anyways, I just think that there's so many things I really love with Book of Boba Fett, and I've rewatched it a couple times, and it's definitely a good watch through. And that being said, I love the Boba Fett we get more in the Mandalorian show. And Mandalorian season 2 and 3, especially season 2, Boba Fett just rocks in that one.
Yeah,
he
he's
just
great there.
shines. Yeah.
But it's a loss.
Yeah, it's a loss.
All right, let's do a couple more easy ones. Andor. That's a
Andor's
win,
a
right?
win. Well, it's a loss because not everyone likes it. No, I'm kidding.
No,
That's a win.
multiple 24 Emmy nominations, stuff like that. That's a win. I know you're gonna like this. I know you're talking about before, but sorry, like Acolyte.
Ahsoka?
No,
Oh, Acolyte.
Acolyte has to be a loss. Multiple reasons.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna argue with it. It's
That
just
was like I feel
fucking
like
Disney.
I feel like there's shows because at that point where we got Mandalorian, Boba Fett, Andor, Obi-Wan. There's shows that people came out maybe didn't like, but I feel like the Acolyte, not talking about the Red Eye people. I feel like that was similar last year where that divided a lot of people for X, Y, and Z. I'm not talking about the woke bro crowd. I'm talking about maybe some canon people, some other stuff. But yeah, Acolyte, that was a lot, and that was. It just seemed like Disney was embarrassed, but they like confirmed in an article that the show was canceled. They never had to do that. They could have just like been quiet, but that they knew how bad it was. They had to say something. That's how bad it was.
Fucking
they knew.
bastards. Plagueis and High Republic. God damn it.
Blame Filoni.
Filoni
apparently.
was probably at the forefront of that. Like, oh, let's just cancel the show while we're ahead.
Well, who knows? Rumor was they wrote one show and then Filoni came in and changed a bunch of stuff, and then they canceled. So
Because he wanted the show to fail. He probably added all the
maybe he
controversial
did.
stuff.
Maybe he did. So now we're down to 3, and I think these are the hardest ones. I talked about this and I love this so much. Where do you feel? Where's Skeleton Crew?
I think that's a win.
I think
Like,
so
I'm not
too.
super
but-
hot on that show, but I think it's definitely a win. I think more people need to give it a chance, to be honest.
Yes, that's a tough thing. I think this is one where, because it goes against we don't have a data point. Not too many people are talking about, but most people that have seen it that I talked to do really enjoy it. I don't think it was a shot in the arm like Clone Wars was. So I feel like on this one we just have quality to go on, and I just think why I'm praising this one, I'm putting in the W because it was the first thing in live. Like, look at this. So Mandalorian eventually became very Star Wars Skywalker saga heavy, right? Boba Fett, there's there. Obi-Wan, there's there. Andor connected to the Dark Times. Ahsoka, Acolyte again is not, but we talked about all the other problems and just the way Disney they look at it as a loss. Skeleton Crew was the first thing really after Acolyte to do something else on its own and not be connected to anything. Again, not sure what the numbers was, so this might be a biased one, but you know what? Sometimes these lists are biased, and that's why I'm going to give Taylor a biased one because I'm saying Ahsoka. Where would you put that?
That's a win. That is an absolute win. Oh my god. It just sets up so much. You get Jedi popping off here, and you finally get just more story in between episode 6 and 7. And I think that's key because we do, it's always like you said, dark times and everything like that, but finally to get more content between those two eras.
Too.
Mandalorian you do too, yeah, for sure. It's just nice to see more on like a larger scale with the New Republic and just the Empire kind of operating secret, and then just finally Thrawn coming back and he's gonna just rebuild the Empire and just kind of what this war is going to mean and everything unfolding. And plus we get Star Wars zombies in real live action. Fuck, I've been waiting for that forever. I never thought we were gonna get something like that, and it was just so cool, so cool.
That's true. And then the stuff that Bale and Skull's going after, we'll see what happens there, but there could be some big risks there. I think Ahsoka, it's a tough thing for me. I'm gonna, you gave me Skeleton Crew. This is our personal list, so that's where everything has some bias. But I think for me, Ahsoka will be similar to like how Mike says you do the Mandalorian season separately, and we said, oh, maybe if we look back on this after the movies there, what will we do? I think Ahsoka's the same for me, that I need to see season 2, and I need to see if they do that Filoni movie, because obviously that could be a good setup and a good pay, right? Because if we get in a situation where the Mandalorian Grogu movie hits, and then they do Ahsoka season 2, and then like the Thrawn movie or whatever, and that hits, then you can say, okay, those were wins, because those like bona fide wins, because they set up what was going to happen, right? I think right now we're in this era, and I think some people had issues with it, and Mike's right. I thought it was a win for hardcore fans, but lost for general audience, and that's where it's tough, and that's where I can agree with you that that's where you could almost put in that draw category, but I'll lean a bit more to the win, because you had stuff like you brought back Anakin Skywalker, which, you know, for me, you know, I think the episode had some flaws, but for a lot of people that was very special, right? And that was a needle mover. That was a moment where even people that debated if they liked it or didn't like it, the idea of just bringing Hayden back to actually act was a big thing, especially after so many years of memes and getting made fun of, right? So that's where like I lean a little more towards, you know, the W. People say, oh, the Clone Wars, seeing that in live action, right? So I'm gonna lean it there for now. Maybe when we do this list in 2000, that's when, folks, I'll let you know. When we do the list again, it'll be on GV20. When we do the wins and losses, and we'll see from there. So maybe we could have this list, and then yeah, are you doing it on the drive? Is it in the drive?
It's in the drive, yeah. You
Okay,
can
just
see
keep it there. Just keep it there. So in 10 years, we'll check on it. So okay, Ahsoka's a win there. Okay, we're on our last one, and we'll see the overall tally, because I've kind of forgotten, but. Taylor, I feel like this is a tough one. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, it's a win, right?
I think it's a loss.
Why?
I think it's tough because to me this is similar to the Last Jedi thing, where massive successful, right? I think critically successful, their most watched show successful, but I think the heights of what we thought Obi-Wan was going to be, it did not get there. I think what's the storyline? Who's the female Sith that was after Vader?
Reva?
That was a big miss. And I'm not talking about the fucking red eye people. I'm saying that whole, like, we finally get Ewan back in Obi-Wan, and like half the show is about Reva and this fucking storyline. And then like, remember when she's on Tatooine chasing fucking Uncle Ben and Aunt Beru and Luke Skywalker around? Like, I think like this is what I mean. Like, I think it's a close one, because success wise it's a win, but I think Obi-Wan coming back, that should have had a much bigger impact, and it just feels like it kind of came and went. And I think the other loss thing too, it worked for Disney Plus, but I will always say, and I think the show confirms to me, that this should have been a movie. This should have been the first movie, not even Solo, because I bet you Obi-Wan, do you agree with this, that Obi-Wan, no matter what, would have done better money wise than Solo as a movie? Yes, because Ewan was coming back, right? And that could at least still even got us to Solo again. And then imagine that, where if they had Obi-Wan that did gangbusters and Solo that did all right, they go, okay, well, Solo just didn't work, but Obi-Wan did, so let's do another spin-off movie. That's where, for me, that I think the conception was wrong, the execution was wrong. Not in a fail way, because I still enjoy it enough, but I just feel like for something we waited for so long, it under-delivered. Not that it was awful, but under-delivered, and it didn't hit the heights that Ewan coming back should have. And definitely, we saw, like, biggest Star Wars Disney Plus thing, the audience was there, so I think people would have paid to go see Ewan, and you know, it didn't happen. So I think it goes in the loss for the potential there. But Taylor, are you on win, or are you playing devil's advocate?
I'm in the win category, because I feel like you have
bumbling guards chasing Leia. Yeah,
I'm in the win because I think you get Hayden coming back full time here as Darth in the suit, opposite of.
But you get him again in
Ewan.
Ahsoka though, so you don't got to worry about that. You're gonna get
that
him.
in like flashback sequences and all that. Like, you get him more present here, and it's just the dynamic of having them both back together. Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen's Revenge of the Sith. I think that's just got some weight to it. That's got a lot of
Which
impact.
could
It has
happening in
a lot of-
Ahsoka. Remember,
a
we've
lot
heard
of
rumors.
maybe
you know.
it's got a lot more anticipation and excitement surrounding
Like,
it.
But the thing is, everything you're saying, this is my problem. Everything that they did there, they could still do in Ahsoka.
They could, absolutely,
Yeah.
but it's been done here right now, and I think that holds weight behind it. You also get a Vader that I feel like we haven't really been able to see in other versions. I mean, he's dark in Rogue
he's
One,
scary in
one
Rogue
hallway
One.
scene, and he is
That's
scary.
scary,
But
though.
like here, like, he's not scary in the sense where he's dragging a woman down, faced her in the mud, using the Force and snapping a kid's neck. I've never seen anyone do that in Star Wars before. That's next level. So I think that carries weight.
And you know what also carries weight? Remember in Return of the Jedi when Obi-Wan's like, hey, Luke, you have to kill Darth Vader. And now the last time Darth Vader was seen, or Obi-Wan saw Darth Vader, is when he had him dead to rights. Remember, you talk about what they do for Darth Vader? Obi-Wan kicks his ass like cleanly, like destroys Darth Vader. He could execute Darth Vader. And even at this point, he has said, you know, goodbye, Darth. He's fully said Anakin's dead. This is Darth Vader, bad guy who's a terrorist, kills children, men, women, does a bunch of stuff, you know. Probably allows assault in the Empire, unlike some people might think. Now watching Return of the Jedi, knowing Obi-Wan, all this, Obi-Wan could have stopped it with one clean. Obi-Wan fucking kills just a random guy in a bar. Like not kills. He cuts a guy's arm off in a bar randomly, just because he's a little rude to him. Where he couldn't even just
That was self-defense. That was self-defense. The guy pulled a gun on Luke. That was self-defense.
You know what could Obi-Wan be doing? Self-defending the whole galaxy against Darth Vader.
No, because he's
not a Jedi anymore.
It's
that
no. It's not
weird
that.
Jedi.
It's not that. It's different because if let's say he disarmed him and took him down. Now if Vader got back up, pulled his lightsaber out, and went to swing at Obi-Wan just turned around and like cut him in half or sliced him or something like that. That would have been a different story. So
it was a whole fight. He was not self-defenseless. He won the fight. You execute after the fight.
He went there as a distraction, though. He
No.
went there as a distraction. Everything he was doing was just like Luke
Taylor,
Skywalker in Last Jedi. All a distraction, right?
Well, Luke was successful because he got them another day. Obi-Wan, the difference is
Obi-Wan was successful too. He got the people
Luke
away.
couldn't have ended the war at Last Jedi. Obi-Wan could have, or at least really highly damaged it.
Palpatine's tried to kill Vader so many times. Palpatine would have just had some. The
Obi-Wan could have done any, though.
The High Inquisitor would have taken over as the new Sith Lord.
Yeah, and he would have sucked. Luke would have kicked his ass.
Luke would have faced
easily.
him on the Death Star in Return of the Jedi.
Episode 4, the Inquisitor dies to old Obi-Wan. I'm telling you, he takes him. Like they have no problem. Like that can't be Taylor. That is a sacrilege bad thing they did. That fight. They could have done anything. Why did they not make anybody just stop Obi-Wan? They grabbed Vader. They literally had Vader, Obi-Wan be like, "Yeah, I beat you." And I'm gonna walk away. And then again, for him in Return of the Jedi, say, "No, Luke, you have to you have to be the one that kills your dad." He could have done it. So they broke.
That's why Obi-Wan.
No
Obi-Wan knew. He's like, you have to be the one to defeat Vader. He
what
knew
did he think
all
was
those
gonna
years
happen?
ago.
He was gonna kick Anakin's ass, and he'd see the errors of his ways.
Something like that.
It's got to be a loss. That's a loss, and you know it.
I feel like I've just heard people just rave about this show. I don't know if I can see it as a loss.
Yeah, you in the mirror like Green Goblin. We like the show. You remember that little accident that Darth Vader had? Oh, I can't. I gave you Ahsoka. I had some issues. I can't give you Obi-Wan after our conversation.
You took Bad Batch from me. Give me this one. Give me this one.
No, if Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker in the loss, this isn't the loss. There's no way this is a win. And you know it. You know it in your soul. It's not. This could have been much bigger. Riva, all this stuff. Again, Luke's getting chased after a Sith in the Tatooine deserts.
No, it wasn't a Sith. She got absolutely schooled when she faced Vader. She got absolutely fucking schooled, and she was injured too. So no wonder she was not going to be doing well going after these guys. Aunt Beru was a beast, absolutely just going to town.
I can't. You can't tell me you want to see Aunt Beru run away from a Sith
on a public, general kind of audience scale here, a GA scale. I think that when that trailer came out at that investors meeting and it was like, oh my god, it's Obi-Wan, and you get that original John Williams theme kicking in here, Duel of Fates, everyone was just on cloud nine, and I think everyone tuned in because what'd you say? This is the number one Star Wars live action show on Disney Plus. That's a win.
The win business wise, but did it?
Oh no, that's a win.
But we said that with Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker. You could say the same thing, Rise Skywalker, when they had that first teaser, and at the end when you had Palpatine, like when Luke's like, no one's ever really gone, and the laugh happened. We thought, oh, this is gonna be great. The laugh's happening. JJ's back, but then the execution.
Like this is a Force Awakens win. Force Awakens was like well over $1 billion, well over what Rise of Skywalker and Last Jedi made.
Mandalorian's the Force Awakens win. Mandalorian is the first live action show that gets people very excited.
Yeah, okay, I'll agree with that.
If they do more of Obi-Wan, we hear rumors of season 2, maybe they can save it. But like it's I think more equivalent to Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker as far as had big hype, big success, but what happened after the fact was not ideal. You know, Ian's great in it. Put in that L category. You know it's true. Search your feelings. You know it's there.
Obi-Wan.
All right, Taylor. So read off the losses.
What a fucking brutal list here. Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker, Solo: A Star Wars Story, Resistance, The Bad Batch, Tales of the Above, Book of Boba Fett, Acolyte, and Obi-Wan.
So that's 9. How many wins do we got?
Got Force Awakens, Rogue One, Rebels, Clone Wars, Visions, Mandalorian, Andor, Skeleton Crew, and Ahsoka.
Oh my God.
It's a tie, isn't it?
It's it's 9 and 9. That is so crazy.
So they
'cause-
got a perfect 50-50 ratio at
and
Disney.
like and people, because obviously Taylor could see the list, but Taylor had not brought up the list at all. Bring it up, do a share screen. He had not brought up the list at all during this whole podcast, so I wasn't like trying to angle like, oh, let's get the numbers. So it's like, and you know what, wow, that's crazy. But you know what, in all honesty, like, to describe the last 10 years of Lucasfilm, I feel like 50-50 is not like a bad, like, for some people they would think that's like we're giving them too much credit, right? But I feel like from maybe our standpoint, because I think Yumi would definitely switch where there's some stuff you'd have win, I'd have lost, but I feel like we'd both easily say that like 50-50 is pretty accurate for the past 10 years what they've been doing. Wouldn't you agree?
I'd say so. Yeah, I'd agree.
So yeah,
I mean, if we include that cartoon Jedi Adventures, that's a win. So it makes
That
the
is a
wins.
win.
We got 60-40.
Technically, but Kathleen, if you were to say, "Hey, Kathleen, what do you think? What do you think the Young Jedi Adventures did for the brand?" You go, "What's the Young Jedi Adventures?" I challenge somebody, please, when they're interviewing Kathleen Kennedy, ask her what she thinks about that, and see if she has any idea what the Young Jedi Adventures is. There's no idea she doesn't have her hand in that at all. But well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We have to, so I guess really, we said in 10 years, but maybe we'll revisit. Maybe we'll have to revisit after Mandalore and Grogu sooner, because that'll be a tiebreaker. So maybe we will, because we need a tiebreaker to see if that's a win or a loss. I think if it's a big success and it shows that, hey, people watch TV shows and pay for the movies, great. If it just falters for a number of reasons, then obviously it's a loss. So there you go. As we deem it right now, Kathy and crew, Dave, John, everybody else have done a 50% job. Is that good? Is that bad? I don't know. I guess that's in the eyes of the beholder. We'd have to see what happens the next 10 years of what just a Filoni-led one would do. It's 50-50. I don't know, but yeah, I'm glad we broke this down, and I hopefully, let us know if you like this. Hopefully, we'll try not to make it another 6 years before we do this again. Not saying it's gonna become a regular spin-off show again. Don't get me wrong, but had a good time busting this down, Taylor.
It was good. Always enjoy some heated debate when it comes to Star Wars.
Yeah. There you go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, happy GV10 year. Happy bringing this back. And until you hear from us next time, may the Force be with you.